Daily Devotion with Pastor Balla for June 26th, 2020, from 1 Samuel chapter 8. Is anything better than God? If I would ask you that question, is there anything better than God, your response would probably be a loud no. But consider what happens in 1 Samuel chapter 8. When Samuel became old, he made his sons judges over Israel. Okay, sounds like father, like son. Okay, fair enough, right? Verse 3. Yet his sons did not walk in his ways, but turned aside after gain. They took bribes and perverted justice. Well, then I guess it's not like father, like son. The result of this, verse 4. Then all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah, and said to him, Behold, you are old, and your sons do not walk in your ways. Now appoint for us a king to judge us like all the nations. Who is ruling the nation now? Who's the one in charge? Who's the one that the people are looking to for authority? Well, it's supposed to be God, but I guess maybe it isn't God. But to be fair, what about the people's logic? Who's going to replace Samuel? And besides that, Samuel's own sons were not going to be good replacements. So they wanted to replace Samuel with a king, like the other nations that had kings. The other nations, however, were not the people of God. And by the way, the people of God should always be about trying to raise up good Christian men and women to take leadership positions in the church, besides raising up faithful pastors. Let's continue on. Verse 7. And the Lord said to Samuel, Obey the voice of the people in all that they say to you, for they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me from being king over them. Now comes the question, what is better than God? Well, the people's point of view would be a king. You can almost see the problems that are going to result. God continues in verse 9. Now then, obey their voice. Only you shall solemnly warn them and show them the ways of the king who shall rule over them. So Samuel told the people that the king would take the best of their sons, the best of their daughters, the best of the land, all the while taxing them 10% of everything that they gain. Versus, if you want to do a comparison, to the sons of Samuel who were trying to gain some extra money on the side. Not that I'm trying to promote bribes for justice, but when you compare the two, which would have been the better option? Probably going with more Samuel's sons, with a little bit of perversion of justice, and still keeping God in charge, instead of kicking God out of the throne, so to speak, and putting somebody else in charge who's going to take a lot more than what Samuel's sons would have taken. One little side note to all of this. You may remember near the beginning part of 1 Samuel that Eli, the priest, had some sons. And both Eli, the priest, and his sons were condemned by God for their perversion. But why was not Samuel and his sons condemned by God for their perversion? Well, now you're looking at the difference between the role of the priest and you could say the role of the government. The priest stands in a position of connecting people to God. So when the priest becomes corrupt and is no longer functioning, then people are no longer really being connected to God. So that's why we need to continue to raise up faithful pastors who are going to continue to proclaim God's word. And besides, I think Eli said it best by his own words back in 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 25. If someone sins against a man, God will mediate for him. But if somebody sins against the Lord, who can intercede for him? Eli and his sons were sinning against the Lord. Then who would intercede? The answer would be no one. They were condemned. So not only do we need to raise up good leaders in the church, but we also need to raise up good leaders in the government. Let's get back to Samuel chapter 8, verse 19. But the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, "No, but there shall be a king over us." God's response, verse 22, "And the Lord said to Samuel, obey their voice and make them a king." Samuel then said to the men of Israel, "Go every man to his city." Join me again tomorrow as we ask, how do you make a king? God's peace and many blessings be with you. Thank you for watching, and please take an opportunity to share this devotion with others. If you have enjoyed these daily devotions, please consider making a donation to Peace Lutheran Church, 24024 West Main Street, Plainfield, Illinois, 60544. Thank you again for watching.